Are you fed up with the same boring breakfasts every single day? Well, here at the Ideal Home Show, you're in luck because I'm joined by chef and nutritionist Charlotte from Charlotte Cohen Cooks, who is going to teach us how to make a nutritious and delicious spiced apple tea loaf so we can mix it up this winter in the mornings. Right, what do we do?
Well, we start by grating some apples.
Okay.
Which I can get you on.
All right. I've never made one of these before, so I'm quite excited. Just straight in there, straight away.
So what we're going to do, we're going to put the skin on as well, because there's lots of fibre in the skin, so we don't need to peel it, and also it's easier. So you're just going to grate, start by one side. I'll show you. Here we go.
I assume we're not
Straight
going
in
down
the bowl.
to the core.
Exactly. So we're going to stop when we get to the core, like that.
Okay.
And then you can flip it and do each side like that.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we are grating away with the apples. So you're saying in the skin there's actually a fair bit of nutrients as well, so we don't want to get rid of that.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the nutrients of all kind of plants, vegetables, fruits live in and around the skin. So if you peel it, not only do you waste half of the fruit, but you also lose some of the nutrients. And there's a lot of fibre in the skin as well. So we're just getting extra goodness in there, and it all cooks down and makes it delicious anyway. So,
and I love the idea of this because it almost seems like you're having a bit of a cake in the mornings, which doesn't seem healthy.
But it is, which is great. And it's great because you can make this ahead and you can slice it up and you can freeze it. So I like to keep little slices in my freezer and then pop it in the toaster or pop it in the air fryer. Either spread a little bit of butter on it in the morning or have it with a extra bit of Greek yogurt for some more protein, drizzle of honey.
All right, so we down to, is that about it for one?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, great.
We can get rid of that.
Right.
Often when you make things like this with like grated fruit and vegetables in, they tell you to strain it out beforehand.
Yeah.
But I've designed this recipe so that you can actually keep the juice in because then you get the natural sweetness from the apple juice and that acts as kind of the liquid part of the mix. And then it's naturally sweetened. You don't have to add any more. Like, we're not going to be putting maple syrup or honey or anything like that in it. It's just all the sweetness comes from the apple. Yeah.
And that's got to be healthier.
That's much healthier.
Perfect.
And then you don't waste anything either. So
great.
I'll
Well, I think I mastered the grating.
No fingernails in there?
No fingernails in there. They're still intact. You'll be very pleased to know.
Next is some yogurt.
Now, the yogurt you've got here is a Greek yogurt.
Yeah.
Because that has more, you mentioned earlier, protein in it, was it?
Yeah. So I always pretty much exclusively use a full-fat Greek yogurt when I'm cooking. Firstly, because of the texture and the flavour. The way that Greek yogurt's made is strained, so it's naturally really thick without having to add anything. And when you have a full-fat yogurt as well, again, you haven't strained half of the fat out, so it's a lot thicker. Some of the low-fat ones can be quite watery, and fat is actually good for you.
Yeah, so this is something that I find really interesting because in the 90s, noughties, when I was growing up, it was literally embedded into us that fat was bad. Avoid fat, low fat, everything. But that's not actually the case, is it?
It's not. I mean, everything in moderation. If you had a very, very high fat diet, that wouldn't be great. But you actually need fat. You need fat for lots of things in your body, like hormone function, for example, especially as women, if we have a very, very low fat diet, it can mess with your hormones. And part of the reason why it was very popular back then was because of diet culture and because fat is naturally higher in calories.
Yeah.
But fat doesn't make you fat. It's the increase in calories that does. So it's one of those
interesting
things that we should all forget.
And of course, there are good fats and...
There are, yes. And dairy fat like this in moderation is great.
All right, so how much?
250 grams we're going to do.
Fantastic. 255?
That's fine.
Is that fine?
Yeah,
we don't have to stick to the exacts.
It'll work, yeah. Okay. It's a forgiving recipe, so... and then we are going to put in 3 eggs.
Okay.
How are you at cracking eggs?
I'm all right. We'll do one each. Okay, so you can do it one-handed.
Let's see.
Wow.
Ooh, that actually went better than I thought it was going to.
I'm probably not going to try that because
2 hands is just as good as one.
Are you a smash on the table?
Yeah, so if you smash it on a flat surface, it's actually a lot easier. If you smash it on the edge, you're more likely then to spill it on the...
Oh.
Yeah, so it's actually a lot easier to do that.
Literally never done this before.
Stunning.
No shells. All right, you can do
Perfect.
this first. And is there a reason why they go into the pot first? Is it just in case there's shells or anything that go in?
In the pot.
Yeah.
It's just, otherwise you end up rooting around in bits of apple trying to get the shell out, so it's just a bit easier. Nice. Also, if you get a bad one. But I mean, in the entire time I've been cooking, I don't think I've ever cracked an egg and it's been a bad one. So I think that's more of an old wives' tale.
How would you know if it's bad?
It would be smelly, I suppose. Okay. A bit old and gross. Yeah, I don't really know. Straight in. No smelly eggs here. Okay, then we're going to put in some olive oil. Where's my olive oil?
Olive oil, of course. So it's still a cake, isn't it? So it needs some form of butter or fat. So why olive oil over like a butter?
Olive oil is better for you.
Okay.
It's unsaturated fat. Mm-hmm. We don't need a ton of it because we've actually got some nice fat from the Greek yogurt in there, and we've got 3 eggs going in. But you need a little bit. Also, it adds a nice little flavour. Yeah. So I'm going to just add 3 teaspoons. And
there are so many different types of olive oil out there. What would you go for?
I always try and cook with extra virgin olive oil, which is just the purest type of olive oil. It's the best for you. It's the richest in polyphenols, which is the stuff that's great for you. Basically like olive juice. So
just pure olives.
Pure, nothing,
squeezed in.
First press, ideally like cold pressed.
Yeah.
And not chemical extracted, because some olive oils are extracted. They use chemicals to get more from the olives. So you want as pure as possible to be as good for you as possible.
Fab.
So we can mix that together.
Just with the spatula?
Yeah, you can go for it. There's nothing in there that we need to get air in or anything like that. So just want to mix it till it's nice and combined.
Quite
and then
satisfying,
we can,
isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So how many will this serve eventually?
It's going to make about 10 slices.
Okay.
Depending on how big you want them, really. You could cut it thinner and have it more like toast. But I like a nice chunky slice.
Almost like a cake. It's
like
that feeling,
cake,
isn't it?
Basically, yeah. The bigger it is, the more it feels like cake.
Looking for appliances you can trust to help you create more than just meals? With KitchenAid, you get more than just great tools. You get a brand that's been supporting home cooks and food lovers for over a century. So whether you're mixing dough, blending smoothies, or experimenting with new recipes, KitchenAid products are built for versatility and for lasting performance. Everything from the iconic stand mixer to blenders and food processors is designed to help you express your creativity and get consistent results every single time. And with new colours like Flutter for 2025, you can add a personal touch to your space while enjoying innovation you can count on. Click the link in the description. KitchenAid. Classic style, endless possibilities. So what are we looking for when we're stirring? Because I never really know at what point it's done enough and at what point it's not.
You just want it to be completely combined, because if you've got little pockets of yogurt or something like that in there, it means that when you bake it, it's not going to be evenly distributed.
Fine.
So that's all you really want.
So just when it looks like it's really mixed in together.
It's completely evenly distributed.
Great.
Like the bits of apple and things.
Yeah.
So we can now measure in our dry ingredients.
So I've noticed that it's always wet first, then dry, never dry, then wet. Generally when it comes to baking and stuff. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, so it's probably not very applicable in this because we're not trying to get loads of air in it and we're not trying to create a massive rise. But in other recipes where you are trying to create a really nice rise and it might struggle, for example, when you want to sieve your dry ingredients in afterwards and you fold it into the wet ingredients gently so that you don't lose the air, basically. We don't really need to do that for this, but that's generally why it's
the reason
done.
why.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to add in 150 grams of plain flour, which is that big boy there.
Is this just a pour job? Is this going to be an absolute disaster?
Let's see.
Okay.
Give it a little shake. You can use a spoon if you prefer.
No, we've got this.
She's going for it. She's going straight for it.
What was it?
150.
150.
Nice.
All right, we're nearly there.
Beautiful control.
Thank you. So close.
There we go. That'll be fine.
Does it ever really matter if you go over 3 or 4 grams or under 3 or 4? Because I always get quite worked up about it.
3 grams isn't going to make much of a difference, but it does depend on the recipe.
Yeah.
So there are some recipes that you really need to be super, super precise, especially if you're working on a small scale, because obviously a small scale makes a much bigger difference.
Yeah.
But if you're working on a big scale and you've got a couple of grams different, it's not typically going to make a big difference.
Okay, fab.
Then we're going to go 100 grams of oats. We're using porridge oats, which are slightly thinner and kind of more rolled than, let's say, like steel cut or whole oats, which just means that they kind of blend in a little bit more so you don't get big bits of chewy oats. You could use the thicker ones, but I think this works nicely for this recipe.
So with a recipe like this, obviously we've got plain flour and oats.
Yeah.
If someone was gluten-free, for example,
yeah.
would it be possible to use gluten-free oats and maybe a gluten-free flour, or do you generally have to be a bit more careful about mixing up the recipe or the...
So gluten-free flour does change slightly. It's going to depend on the recipe. Again, you'd need to play around with it a little bit. Generally speaking, you can swap like for like.
Okay.
In a recipe like this, actually, where it's only 150 grams, you'd probably be completely fine.
Yeah.
It would just change the texture slightly,
yeah.
but not much. Other recipes, like with bread and stuff like that, you have to be a bit more specific and maybe follow a recipe that is specifically for using gluten-free flour.
Okay, perfect.
I'm just going to dry this off for us, and then we're going to put 3.5 teaspoons of mixed spice.
And this is just one you can buy from the supermarket, nothing special.
Yeah, it's a spice blend. Actually, it's a very British spice blend.
That's nice.
Often, if I put this in my recipes, I get lots of people from the US saying, "What is mixed spice? Mix of what spices?" It's quite similar to pumpkin spice in the US, and it's a blend of cinnamon, coriander seeds, dill seeds, ginger, cloves, and nutmeg.
Okay, 3.5.
Should have just about enough in that.
I'd definitely be one of those people asking about the what's in the spices. Is that about?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I don't need to be too...
Great. Too precise again.
Too precise with this one, just so it's broadly level. And it would work really well if you just wanted to use like cinnamon or just cinnamon and maybe nutmeg or something like that as well. We're going to add a pinch of salt.
Is salt just generally to bring out the flavour in everything? That's what I always hear.
Much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I normally put a little pinch of salt in all of my recipes. Just gives it a little lift.
Great. And there's loads of different types of salt as well, isn't there? So
there are.
What would you recommend? Is it, again, as natural as possible?
Yeah, ideally, although I do use a table salt for whilst I'm cooking.
Yeah.
That salt that we were just using is more of what chefs would call like a finishing salt because it's flaky, it's a bit more expensive, it's a bit more natural. Yeah. And generally I'll use that in maybe my sweet recipes or to finish on the top of things. And as I'm cooking, I tend to use table salt. But you know, that's more just a cost thing because it's quite expensive, that stuff. So we're going to do a teaspoon of baking powder, and then we're going to give it a little boost by doing half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda as well.
Okay, I have absolutely no idea what the difference is between these two. So talk us through what baking powder is and bicarbonate of soda. And this is for the people like me who really don't cook.
Yeah, so baking powder is basically like a blend, so it actually contains some of this. But if you just use bicarbonate of soda on its own, it gives it a very, very fast, quick lift. And if it's not very controlled, so if your mixture is lying around for a while, you might actually lose the activation in it. So it's not that reliable for your average home baker, but it can give it a good little boost. So generally speaking, we use baking powder, and for stuff like this that needs a bit of extra lift, then we use a little bit of baking soda as well.
Okay.
I can't remember what that's mixed with. It's mixed with something that stops it from going too crazy, I think.
And by lift, you just mean sort of the rise in the pan?
Rise,
yeah. Great.
Some things need an extra help. Things like this are quite dense with lots of like heavy oats and apple and stuff like that. It needs a bit of extra support.
Nice.
Sieving your flour in a recipe like this isn't really going to do much.
Are you happy if I put the spiced teaspoon in the powder? Okay, fine. Yeah. And it was a teaspoon of this one?
Teaspoon of that one.
And then half of the
half
other.
of that one.
Great.
Now we can mix that.
What's the technique?
So we don't need to mix it aggressively. Again, we just want to fold it all in like that.
Is this something you could do in a food processor or something like that if you would want a tool to aid you for whatever reason?
So I have a KitchenAid. We could have used that, but to be honest, for something like this that doesn't really require that much mixing, you don't really need to. But it's up to you if you can't be bothered.
And how long would we be stirring this for?
Just until you can't see any lumps of flour.
So again, that sort of consistency throughout.
Exactly.
Yeah, lovely.
There we go.
And is that basically it then?
So we're going to add in fruit and
nuts. Yeah. Oh, lovely.
So we can pop that to one side for a second and we can chop some nuts and fruit.
Okay. So what are we going for? What nuts? What fruit?
We can do whatever we want, really.
Ooh. So I guess stuff like this, sultanas, raisins, that... That go quite nicely, or you just got a
Yeah,
mix?
so I'm going to use, for this, we're going to use mixed fruit,
Nice.
which again is quite a British thing.
Yeah.
And it's essentially just a blend of raisins, sultanas, I think currants as well usually. Yeah, raisins, currants, sultanas, and it's got candied mixed peel in it. So it is a little bit sweeter, but it's great in something like this. Again, it stops us having to put any kind of sugar or anything like that in it, because it's all going to be sweetened by this, and there's lots of fibre in dried fruit like this. So,
because you do hear too much of it can be quite bad for you if you have too much dried fruit. But I guess within
too much anything really
fine.
is the general rule with nutrition, as varied as possible.
How much?
200 grams.
200. Well, this looks lovely. It's very wintry, isn't it?
Yeah, with the spices as well. It's perfect.
And actually, something like Boxing Day, this would be amazing on, just when you wake up and you can eat it first thing.
And you feel like you're having cake for breakfast, but you're also having something very healthy. So
Perfect.
that's great. So that's going to go in.
Just straight in?
Straight in.
Great. Easy.
Like so. And then we can measure out some nuts. Did I do that right? Yeah. Sorry for a second when I thought I'd done right. Okay. We can decide what we want, really, actually. Do you have a favourite nut? Some hazelnuts?
I love a hazelnut.
Some seeds?
Yeah.
Walnuts?
There's very few nuts I don't like, to be honest.
We've got all of the nuts going on here. We want 100 grams in total, so...
Just mix.
Just any mix, yeah.
Right.
And the great thing about doing it like this and just using whatever you have in your cupboard, firstly, you can use whatever you have in your cupboard, but secondly, it means that every time you make it, you're probably going to use a slightly different blend.
Yeah.
And the key with nutrition is that you want it to be varied, and each of these... brings something different nutritionally.
Yeah.
So, you're just changing it ever so slightly each time.
And actually, the more nutrients, the better, right? So
Exactly.
why not mix it up?
Some of these in as well.
I have to say, I'm a bit of a sucker for a cashew nut.
Oh, we'll go for it on the cashews. A few of those. You can do the rest cashews if you want.
Oh, yeah. And then I'll keep the rest for a snack. I mean, no, I won't.
There you go.
Okay, fab.
And then we're just going to tip those out onto this chopping board and give them a good chop so that we don't have whole nuts in there. Like so.
Perfect.
And I'm just going to put my hand like that.
Yep.
Stop myself. We're just going to
So
run a knife.
slower the better on this, I'm feeling.
If you try and do it too fast, you'll end up with nuts all over your kitchen.
Yeah.
Because they tend to dart around. So especially the hazelnuts.
It's quite therapeutic, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that's the key to cooking. I mean, obviously, we live such busy lives that so often when you're cooking, it's out of necessity and you're in a rush and you want dinner an hour ago, and maybe you're cooking for other people and
kids are screaming, trying to put them to bed.
Exactly, and it's just not conducive to a relaxing time. But I think how I fell in love with cooking was making time for it where possible, and having a Saturday night in where me and my husband would cook together, and there's no time limit, and you can actually just enjoy it for what it is. And when you're able to do that, you can realise that actually something as simple as chopping some nuts can be quite mindful if you allow it to be. But when you're against the clock, not so much.
Is your husband a good cook?
He is now.
Did you teach him?
I did. Yes, he was pretty uninterested in cooking and even food, to be honest, when we first met. But now he's a very good cook, actually. He sometimes puts me to shame. So, but I have to remind him. I taught him everything he knew.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I think that looks fab. Yeah, perfect.
Fantastic. All right.
Beautifully done. So that can go in there.
And is this just another stir job?
Yeah.
Great.
And just make sure it's all incorporated. On the dishwasher thing, actually, I joke about keeping these tidy, but back to our point about enjoying cooking, I do think that's a massive barrier for people as well, is because, you might cook a delicious meal and at the end, if your kitchen looks like a bomb's hit it, then you're like, great, well, I just spent ages cooking and now I have to spend ages tidying and cleaning. I know not everybody obviously has the luxury of having a dishwasher, but if you do have a dishwasher, I always recommend people start cooking with the dishwasher empty, and then you can just put stuff straight in the dishwasher as you go, and then you finish cooking and you don't have to tidy anything.
That sounds perfect.
Sounds kind of obvious, but a lot of people don't do it, I think, because you just get into it, and then it's just chaos. And it's not quite as enjoyable when everything's messy.
Nobody wants to do the dishes afterwards,
Nobody.
ever. Especially if it's a big old meal and you're all full.
We're going to put this in here.
Okay.
I've got a little liner thing in there. You could also use just baking paper. It's quite a thick mixture, so you can actually sort of dollop it in there. Like so.
This is actually a really nice thing. You could do this on a Sunday and then have it all week, which is great, especially for
busy people.
Yeah, if you're going into the office, you don't have to spend loads of money out all the time buying something nutritious, or you just don't have time. Don't have time in the mornings.
Absolutely.
Got the school run to do.
Yeah.
Getting everyone out with their packed lunches. Don't forget your nutrition as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, I don't know, I don't have kids, so maybe they're fussier than I think, but I feel like most kids would like this. It's just sort of sweet and fruity and a bit cakey.
Hey, you could literally pretend it's cake.
Yeah, just say, would you like some cake for breakfast? Yeah. I'd go for it.
And what's the oven on at?
It's on 170 with a fan.
Okay.
You could do 190 without a fan.
Yeah.
And before we put it in, we are going to just sprinkle it. This is optional. If you're trying to cut back on sugar, you don't have to do this. But we haven't put any sugar in there other than like natural sugars. So just to give it a little crunch on top, I'm going to sprinkle it with a little bit of demerara sugar. Per slice, you get barely anything, but it does make a little nice little sweetness and a little crunch on top. And I just think things like this, it doesn't take away from the goodness of the loaf having a little bit of sugar in there, and it's kind of just like having a little bit of sugar in your tea or something like that. It's not really much. So,
and why that sugar specifically?
This one it's quite coarse.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crunchy. Goes sort of crystallized and crunchy in the oven, which is nice. Another thing you could do as well is you could skip that step, and when it comes out of the oven and it's warm, you could brush it with a little bit of marmalade or a little bit of honey, and then you get a sticky top. I quite like a crunchy top, but if you like a sticky top,
I like the idea of honey. That sounds delicious.
Yeah. So
great.
that can go in the oven.
All right.
Pop her in. You don't want to open the door once it's in there. Right in the middle. Just
right, there we go.
And you want to make sure it stays closed the whole time. Otherwise, you can affect the rise of it if the temperature changes. And we're going to set a timer for 45 minutes.
Great. And there you go. So here we have it. The spiced apple tea loaf.
Yeah. So this has come out of the oven, and then we've let it cool a little bit. You don't really want to slice it when it's super hot.
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, it can just, when it's very warm, when you slice it, it can stick together and get a bit claggy. So you just want to let it kind of release some of its steam a little bit first. So we're going to turn this out.
All right. Perfect.
I'm just going to go like this.
Just turn it. There we go.
And then we can cut some slices. Would you like to try some?
Absolutely. My goodness, it does just look like a cake, doesn't it? And what would you serve this with?
So you can have it like toasted with some butter on. It's really nice. That's like a sort of quite classic tea loaf kind of vibe. But if you really want to boost the kind of protein and make it more of a filling breakfast, you can have it with like a big dollop of Greek yogurt, with maybe with a bit of honey on, that sort of thing. Works really nicely as well. So
brilliant.
Or you can just have it as is,
which I think is what we are about to do.
I think we're just going to try some as is. It's nice and soft, and it's still warm, so it's still a bit.
Okay.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Try.
My goodness, absolutely.
Oh.
Giving Christmas vibes. It's actually really moist.
Keeping the juice of the apples in and the apples themselves keeps it really nice and moist.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Delicious.
And especially for this time of year, I think it really is giving that Christmas spice, winter warming feel.
Yeah, you can go even heavier on the spices if you want to, if you're a big fan. So
well, there we go. Cannot get over how easy that was and how nutritious it is as well. So there we have it.
Cake for breakfast.
Cake for breakfast any time of the year, not just for Christmas, but it is pretty perfect for now. If you like this recipe, do make sure you like and subscribe. We'll have more coming up from Charlotte very, very soon. And if you've got any recipes that you like for breakfast that are easy, nutritious, delicious, let us know in the comments below as well here at The Ideal Home Show. And we will see you all very soon.